Notts County Talk. It is a Thursday night once again, which means a Pavis perspective. It is an absolutely massive week for Notts in terms of points on the board, beating people that are beating Chestefield that are around us or not letting them beat us. 2 away games, which our form's really good away from home, and just keeping that the eyes on first place when you've got the likes of Wrexham just hammering teams. Thank you as always for joining us on Thursday evening. As you will already know, we are powered by Better Bytes computers, so anything you need from them, just mention our name when you go in and they'll sort you out with a discount. But it's huge, isn't it, George? Absolutely huge.
Yeah, it's massive. It really is. 2 huge games. Saturday, it's big for so many reasons. It's 2 teams that are really battling for promotion. 2 teams that are in good form, really good form. And rivals really. We've really been at each other the last few years. The reverse fixture at Meadow Lane was a really, really good game. 4 goals. We should have won the game. Really, we had our chance at the end there. So it'd be really nice, like you say, to keep that away form going and beat Chestefield on Saturday. But it's a lot easier said than done because it's a bit of an uncertain time, I think, for Notts at the minute with the recent results that we've had. So yeah, I don't know what to think. I want to be faithful. We're top of the league. We've been really good away from home, but it's never that easy, is it?
No, it's not. And we know being Notts fans, it's never easy. Who have we got joining us tonight then? Evening Ian, James, Rich, Ellie, Chris, Stephen, Andrew, Matt, Dale. Thank you for joining us. And if you are listening back on Spotify, please don't forget to drop that 5-star rating. Really does help us out. There's loads to talk about, absolutely loads to talk about tonight. So we'll get the formalities out of the way as we do every single Thursday. We talk about the game that's just happened. It was Sunday. We're out, and I was over it by Monday. I was over it by Sunday evening.
Yeah.
Lost on penalties, decent game to watch, second half especially. Got to see a few players, made my mind up about a few that shouldn't be anywhere near the squad, a few that are on the fringe, got to see some youth players. So, probably better we're out of that competition.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you. I think, literally as soon as Palmer missed the penalty, you obviously care. It's not, you want to see your team win every game, don't you? But
yeah,
on the grand scheme of things, I just thought, let's just move on now, get on with the league. I was kind of over it straight away. Like you sort of briefly mentioned there, the only positives that came from that game was maybe highlighting certain things in game and getting some youth players in, and hopefully we see a few more minutes for the youth players because I think both that came on were really good.
Yeah, I do. I did worry, to be fair, when Cisse came on against their fullback. He was very, very strong, and he grew into the game, got a few good crosses in, and Gill in the middle. We've mentioned their turn already on the post-match video from Sunday. They look really good, and then what you sometimes get with youth players, they come in, they don't want to make a mistake. Both of these two just came in and just played pretty naturally, and I thought they were really good for it. So yeah, that was my main highlight, I'd say, of the game on Sunday. We're out of the competition. Yes, Eastleigh are through, so the game's rearranged anyway, but at least we have a rest that weekend. And I don't know, maybe there might not be any scope for it, but maybe we could bring a game forward like we did the Aldershot game and try and get a Tuesday night fixture out of the way. So yeah, let's hope for that. I don't think we need to say much more about the FA Trophy because we're not really here to talk about that, are we? It was a minor inconvenience, really, with the result.
All eyes on the league now, isn't it?
All eyes on the league. Which Wrexham haven't got all eyes on the league. They've got Sheffield United.
Yes.
But Sheffield United coming up. So yeah, that could be interesting. See how that affects them. Maybe it won't. Maybe it will. If you've just joined us, the poll is up. It's, are you confident ahead of the trips to Chesterfield and Solihull? Yes, undecided or not really. I've got my vote in. Have you, George?
I have, yeah.
I can see the way the vote's going at the minute. I think it would have been quite a lot different had we not had those draws in there.
Yeah, 100%.
Pesky little draws, 100%. Which really, really did frustrate me. especially that older one. Alex has joined us. Evening to Alex. So we're going to have to look ahead to Saturday. 20 past 5 kickoff, BT Sport, and I'm just getting flashbacks of last season. You were away, were you, for that game?
Yeah, I was.
Listen to that.
Yeah.
Eli Sam puts us ahead. Brilliant finish. And we absolutely collapsed in the second half. It was an atrocious second half. Had we been 1-0 up in that position, I don't want to jinx anything with Luke Williams. Can't say we wouldn't have lost the game, but I don't think we'd have collapsed as we did. And I think we have to learn from that. Chestefield didn't make a fantastic atmosphere. I thought we were pretty good, but we need to be really loud on Saturday, I think, because without that, it really does count, doesn't it? Fans play a massive part.
Yeah, it does. And William said that in his presser. I'm not sure if you watched it, but he talks about the fans at Meadow Lane and even the away fans more so. Really, they sort of suck the ball into the net at times, so it doesn't go unnoticed. So
we need it.
We need it. Yeah.
Will you be there with your drum?
I'll be there with my drum
and your trumpet.
Yeah.
Castanets. Triangle.
Weird nicknames for Jordan, Jake, and Will, isn't it?
It is very strange. Very strange. But they actually said, can you refer to us on the channel as these musical instruments? So, fair play to them. Your drive as well?
I'm driving, yeah.
First one of the season? How you feeling about that?
All right. I wasn't feeling all right about yesterday, though. I was driving my car and my engine light came on, but...
Is that a sign?
Minor fault.
Is it a sign?
I'll get it sorted. Probably, but, we keep going, don't we?
I know, we're looking at trains at 9:30 last night. I think Jordan's still going on the train.
Yeah.
He seems well.
You mean Castanet's going on the train?
Yes, sorry. Got his nickname. Get your questions in as well. We'll start to have a look at some of your questions. I'm already reading some of the comments, some things we're going to be chatting about. Harry says, only worry is it's on BT. Yes, that is always a worry. But I don't know that...
I think we put that to bed now, don't you?
We had Grimsby on TV, didn't we? But yeah, we've leveled it off a little bit. We have leveled it off slightly. Chris says we need a big result to breathe a bit of confidence back into us, which is insane to say. And
I agree.
I'm sure people would agree when we're top of the league. Need a result to actually give us confidence.
No, it is. I agree, but because I think we've picked up a few little bad habits in there the last few weeks. So I think it'd be good to see a game out without those, some minor bad habits creeping in, and effectively affecting the result at the end of the game. So a good performance and a good result would do absolute wonders, and as it would if we were top of the league and ticking teams off like it was nothing and just winning every game. A win against a promotion rival, it does everything, doesn't it? It does everything.
I do feel.
I remember having a similar conversation when we played Chestefield near the start of the season at Meadow Lane.
Yeah, let's look back to that game then, because they were the first side, I feel, to really not work us out, but to really put us under pressure. I remember social media at halftime of that game. I don't know if you remember it. It was
bad. Yeah, it was the booing game, wasn't it?
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I still remember. I don't think the first half was terrible.
I agree.
It wasn't very good, but it wasn't terrible. But they really put it on us for 50, 60 minutes of that game. And then Maka saves us. One mistake from them defensively, and Maka puts it in. Like you've already said, we could have won the game. Do you think either side will be looking at that game and thinking, try and do something similar? Because let's be honest, Chestefield have a lot more to look at in recent weeks from teams that have managed to play against us. And if I dare say, if we tried to play the same way we did against Boreham Wood and Maidstone, we're just going to get shut out.
Yeah, I was actually speaking to a Chestefield fan earlier this week, and he was saying teams that have come to their stadium and played good football have really struggled and sort of played into their hands. So it will be interesting to see if we take a bit of a different approach and go a bit more direct. Who knows?
I don't know. There's no way we can change the style we play, but it has to be adapted. The plan B isn't there. There's not. We haven't really got personnel for a plan B. because the personnel for Plan B started up top on Sunday and missed header from 6 yards out, barely got a sniff. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
For me, this brings me on to one of the points. We have to have a signing. We have to get a signing there. Teams are strengthening. I know we mentioned it already. Chestefield has signed Colclough. Unbelievable signing. Unbelievable. We have to get someone in.
Yeah, I agree. Look, it's what is it tomorrow, the 20th of January?
Yeah.
You know, we're 2/3 of the way through the month now,
Nothing.
and the only signing we've made was the lone goalkeeper, May, from Norwich, who had a May. Yeah. So yeah, no, I think we need reinforcements. We just need someone to be challenging. We 100% need a wing back for the left hand side. Whether it be
100%.
someone who's ready to sort of jump in, or someone that's just going to push chicks in a little bit more. I think we need and we say it time and time again the last few weeks. We need someone that's going to offer something a little bit different up top, a bit more of a target man. Someone like Amiobi.
Are you getting nervous about it?
Saturday?
No,
really.
about the signing. Because I know we can sign, unless I've got this wrapped around my neck, we can sign players when we want, can't we? But like transfers are
I think we can.
Difficult.
I think it's March, isn't it? But like,
but they're still a lot more difficult after January.
Yeah, they are 100%. It's obviously going with the other windows. It is a lot easier to sign players, but I think if you're top of the league, you do have to just keep adding, don't you, and tweaking and just a few minor adjustments. I know it's the complete other end of the spectrum, but like you look at Arsenal, they've been looking at getting a few players in now, and I know they just got that Trossard, wasn't it, from Brighton today. Not a standout top of the league Premier League player, but it will make a difference. It pushes players, doesn't it? And I think we need a bit of that at Notts. We need to bring. We definitely need a striker. We definitely need a wing back, and I wouldn't even mind seeing, sort of more of a central player added as well. Just because why not?
Midfielder, like an attacking midfielder.
Probably an attacking midfielder. If we can bring a player in, and it's an obvious thing to say, if we can bring a player in that has quality and has more quality than what we already have, bring them in. I love a lot of the players that we have at Notts at the minute. Fantastic players. But if we can bring a player in that's better than what we have currently, then that's what it is. It's for the greater of the club, isn't it? It's not a personal thing for me.
Yeah, you don't see many teams have a transfer window where they don't bring people in and then it works. You know what I mean? I'm mostly talking about summer transfer windows. You get the odd team. I think Liverpool did it a few years ago. They just didn't sign anybody. And it doesn't it doesn't really work for me. You have to keep things fresh. It's all right. We're bringing players in on loan. We've bought John Bostock in that was outside of the transfer window, but we have no option. Like you said up front, there's no option. I'm looking at the team that drew with Boreham Wood. You've got Jim O'Brien on the bench, can kind of offer a goal, offers a bit of an attacking threat. You've got Ed Francis on there who's not going to offer you any attacking threat, really. I know he scored the other week, but if you need it in a game, like bringing off the bench, you don't bring Ed Francis on to score. Likewise, you don't do it with Jim. You don't bring Badrami on to score. You bring Sam Austin on who can set something up, and the other player, you don't bring him on to score is Kyra Mitchell. Do you know what I mean? He's on that bench, but you're not bringing him on to score. You're bringing him on to clear a brilliant shot from going into the bottom corner. So there has to be someone on that bench that other teams look at and think, oh, right, they're bringing him on. Because I remember at the start of the season, they brought Shalanga on at Meadow Lane. Even though he'd just come back from this injury, I thought, okay, they're bringing him on then. Or, do you know what I mean? There's always someone to bring on. We don't have anyone that I think you would look at and think, oh, no. Like, even they weren't, opposition fans wouldn't, or managers wouldn't think, oh, great, they're bringing on Sam Austin. We need to really, step up our game here. There's no one that stand out to come on.
And you know what? With Castro, he was a good player, wasn't he, Castro? He was good. He had some really good moments, and I think that's the term for me. There were some moments where you just didn't know what he was going to do next. And I think we need a bit of that, a bit of unpredictability. I think you need that spark, don't you? At the minute, we maybe have it a little bit with Ruben, but for me, you just need that player who's so unpredictable, and your opposition can't really do anything about. Someone like Saint Maxim. Like, what's he going to do next?
Could get in.
could get him in.
I do think things add up though. Like, it's not just about pure footballing ability. You have someone like Castro coming off the bench, think, right, here's a player. First of all, big player. Like, he's physically bigger than bringing on a Sam Austin or someone else. Okay.
Yeah.
Like you said, unpredictable. Don't know what you're going to come from. Now, can you imagine scouting knots and looking at Castro? You think, what are we going to actually get? We don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. Then you get on loan from West Brom. Okay. Immediately, that makes you think, okay, decent player. You then add in, because everyone will have seen it in the league, score some distance against York, score from distance against Scunthorpe, hit the bar at Meadow Lane from a free kick. And all of a sudden, everything changes. You tell your team, don't let him shoot from the edge of the box. All of a sudden, that opens space up. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Everything adds up. We don't have that off the bench. We don't. So, and we're not going to get anyone in by Saturday or Tuesday, I don't think. And certainly no one, if it is by Tuesday, that's going to be ready to start. But that's a concern for me. It really is. And I hope we haven't gone into a defensive mode of let's keep Maka. Let's keep Ruben. I hope we haven't sort of huddled in and been like, we're not going to get rid of these. We're going to push with what we've got. Because what we've got right now is unbelievable. Top of the league, scoring goals for fun. But it's now getting to crunch time and we're drawing some games. So for me, on the transfer front, need that. Would you say the striker or the wing back is the most important out of those two that you mentioned?
I think striker is probably a bit more important. Because there has been games where it's been frustrating because of the way that we're trying to break teams down. And it would nice to sort of have that, if we do need to just go along a little bit more, just to have that target to aim for, really. Because I mean, it's difficult. It's difficult.
It is. We'll see what happens.
Scott can get up for a header. He can, but you need someone that's going to be, the main target, and bring it down and hold it up. And I'm not talking every game because I much prefer the sort of style of football and the goals 100%. That we're having at the minute with the sort of faster strikers who are, in the right position, looking for a mistake or just in the right position from a cross or pass or whatever. But sometimes you do need to change it. So for me personally, striker. What do you think?
I feel we're so right side heavy in every game. It's like almost the ball hooked over to the right hand side to Aaron a man, and there's only so many times you can use your pace to beat a man before it starts to take its toll. Because the way Aaron a man does it, and when teams sit back, he has to explode with pace past them, and it's tiring. It is tiring, and you've got players like the Maidstone and left back leaning on you all game. It takes it out of you, and there's only so much, and you haven't got the option of Adebayo Rolling to bring on. So, for me, it's wing back. I think because we could create so much more. I think you add another wing back in that, not even necessarily because Chickson's, I think, defensively really good. Attacking wise, he started the season like a house on fire, didn't he? He was brilliant. He could have scored against Bournemouth. Great save from their keeper. We know he's a good keeper. You said before the game he's really good. But we need someone that's going to beat that man and all of a sudden open the whole pitch up. Because I think you can play Chickson one-on-one personally. You just say to your fullback, if they're a good fullback, don't let him cross it. You can play him one-on-one. Aaron the man, every single time comes in, they double up on him. And it takes two players. If you have to do that on both sides of the pitch, really good. I'm going to bring this to Charlie. I saw this on Twitter. Someone, I don't know where the rumour is from, how reliable it is. Someone suggested Dallas is looking to head back to Scotland and Sabara is linked with Notts. I'd be over the moon with that. One of the best players in the league. Can't see it happening. What are your thoughts, George? I can't see it happening. He's where would he fit in? I mean, it would fit him in, but where? He's too good. Too good to not come in as a starter.
There's been a lot of speculation online, and I assume we've been linked with Sabara, and I've also seen that Langstaff's been linked with Lincoln, and that was all just hearsay as well.
Got to be rubbish, yeah.
So, and I feel like we said this a few times as well. Other than one or two where they've hinted that we're going to sign a player, I think it was, it might have been Bostock. They're showing a training video, and you could see Bostock in the video or something like that.
Yeah.
I feel like our signings are pretty hard to predict, and you only really know about them once they've been released by the club.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
tight seal, but I'll say that now, and he'll probably get announced in the next like 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'd love that, Charlie, but I just I don't really see it. Yeah, I don't really see it happening, but it would be fantastic. Not sure exactly where he'd go. Chris, I could see you going for Sabara in summer if and when Ruben goes. Yeah, that'd be really good. I just don't. Well, I want to talk about Ruben in a little bit. I'll talk about Ruben in a bit because I want to link that to him. So yeah, if you're watching the video, almost 90 of you with us tonight. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a like, it's massively appreciated. And as I've already said, if you're listening back on Spotify, please just leave us that 5-star review. It's really, really important and helps us out. It now takes me to the midfield too. Massive, not scapegoating is a wrong word, of Bostock. I think if Bostock was just playing slowly and Williams didn't like it, I think Williams would have told him to speed it up. So I think it was deliberate that Bostock's playing that way. There's no way in the 87th minute he's still playing slowly. Ball comes to touchlines in front of Williams and he collects the ball and he just carry on. There's no way in my mind they can play in the middle together against Chestefield. Not unless you drop in Langstaff or Scott and put in a third central midfielder in there to go with them. No way in my mind.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. The only way, I mean, I'm sitting here saying that I don't think it's a good thing, but then I can also kind of see it happening, if that makes sense, because I don't know how we're going to set up to play Chesterfield. Are we going to take the game to Chesterfield, or are we going to err on the side of caution and sort of play a little bit more defensive? So it will be interesting. I think it's a really, really big test for Williams, isn't it? Because we're top of the league. And I know, look, we've played teams, we've beat Wrexham at Meadow Lane. And I know we've already played Chesterfield, but it's the business time of the season now. We're past halfway. The teams that are up there normally now are the teams that stay up and around there. So it's a really big game Saturday. I'm sure I didn't really need to say that, but
yeah, the chat is a lot of people saying Paul, Rich, saying and Chris agrees with Rich. Job has to play on Saturday. Do you agree with that?
Yeah,
I do. I agree. I've already got. I was at work today thinking about the team, and I've got the team in my head. I know exactly what team I'm going to say a bit later in the video, and it just dropped someone out of that team. But these are the big decisions. You say you don't know how we're going to set up. You're top of the league. Wrexham breathing down the neck, games in hand, but which would put them top, wouldn't it, if they win the games in hand? Pressure, I don't think you can go to Chesterfield and be conservative and put people behind the ball, and because you don't get a result there or you lose. I feel like if you go to Chesterfield and you go one behind, especially now, I think it's difficult, really tricky to get anything from the game because the crowd will then start to pipe up and get with them. But I think we need to play positively, but not like we don't want to be erratic and throw people forward and get caught on the counter attack. There's nothing worse than an open game for me anyway, because we seem to get caught on the counter attacks, don't we? Oldham at home springs to mind.
We do, yeah. No, we do. But that's the thing. It's difficult to sort of call the game, isn't it? Call the team even. Sorry.
Yeah.
I sort of think that the craziest result I've ever seen in terms of the team selection was the forefront of my mind after the game, and I know this was a long time ago. Was Barrow away? Can you remember that?
Yeah, we love that game.
Changed the formation. I think there was 2 players in there that hadn't even had starts. The strangest first half you've ever seen, but we won the game against the league leaders that were just, winning game after game after game.
Yeah.
It was a tactical masterclass, as we called it. On it, Tom.
Yeah, it was.
And it would be sweet to see something like that at Chesterfield, wouldn't it? Just a bit of a shuffle around.
Yeah.
And then second half, go for it, win 5-0.
What was that?
Win 5-0.
5-0. Jordan just said, Luke Williams did say Joe's been struggling with a shoulder issue. If he's fit, he needs to start. Yeah, Jordan, I agree. I'm giving away one player on my team already, but he has to start for me. Absolutely has to start. I'm going to ask another question. Go on.
I was going to say about Paul Cook. He's not on the touchline, is he?
No, I think that could work in Notts' favour because he never shuts up.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet the officials are buzzing.
I know.
I bet there's like a WhatsApp group of National League referees, and they're just all thanking
the
referee that sent him off.
Yeah, I mean, it's a 3-game. He's got a 3-game something for discipline. I think it was looking back at what he did, like retrospective.
Oh, was it? Fair enough.
Ban. He never shuts up, and Williams doesn't do that. Williams doesn't have goes at refs. He's got Tom Wheel for that, who comes out and talks to fourth official. I think at the minute, especially, we're not getting decisions our way in any game, really. And I think so then goes Chesterfield with Paul Cook in the dugout. You're not getting anything again. No chance. So I think it can only play in our favour. It's not like someone's injured for a long time. You don't rally around because your manager's in the stands. It's not like a thing. Like teams, big injury, Shamanga, they rallied around. You don't rally around for Paul Cook being in the stands. So can't see it having a bigger impact. Jordan says you're still hearing him. I'm surprised I can't hear him right now. But
question is, which voice will he be using?
Yeah, that is the question. At least it might save his voice, not shouting. So interesting. What I was going to say, and this is another question that's been going around all day in my head.
Go on.
If I know the whole team have to turn up, who for you is the most important player just for this Chesterfield game? Because we'll look at Solihull in a minute. Who's the big player that has to turn up for me? I've got one set in my mind who has to play well.
Kyle Cameron.
You think it is?
Yeah,
that's a good shout. That's a good shout. Mine's Ruben. I think Ruben has to turn up because someone mentioned in the chat he's been struggling. I don't know if I would say struggling. He's not been himself, and he got brought off early against Bournemouth because he got the yellow, which was a ridiculous yellow. He just tried to cross the ball, but he has to play well. If he plays well, the whole pitch revolves around him. I know we say Matty Palmer dictates the play. Once Ruben starts running at people and using his tricks, the whole pitch revolves around Ruben, 100%. I think he usually relishes the games, doesn't he? The bigger games.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah. Rich says Macca and Ruben. Macca looks slightly off it as well in the last 2 to 3. Good thing about Macca is I think what he did against Chesterfield at their place and almost scored the winner, I think will mean even though he's not in amazing goal scoring form, they'll be on him from minute 1, and it opens up for everyone else. Got another. Sam has to play like he did against Wrexham. Yeah, there'll be a couple of big saves there. Shane says Sam has to be that main man. Andrew agrees with you, George. Kyle Cameron. Yeah, there's got to be a big performances from every player. You can't have one passenger at all. Can't have one passenger in that game. I'm just looking though. It's really difficult being top of the league. You said to me, didn't you? It's like, how did you describe it when we were leaving the game on Sunday? I can't remember what you said, but you're basically saying that you want to be top of the league until you're top of the league. Like, you want to be top of the league on the last day, but the rest of it is just exhausting.
Yeah, it's like grass is always greener, isn't it? It's obviously nice to be top of the league, but then you've just got that added pressure.
But you still wouldn't want to be the chasing team. You still would want to be top of the league, even though you don't like it. And I'm looking now, and we're talking like this. In the last 5 games, we've scored 12, conceded 4, and we have 11 points out of 15. We're talking Chesterfield up. They have 12. They have 1 more point than us. And we could be on a much higher that. We could be on, 13 if the ref doesn't give that penalty at Oldham. So, I mean, looking at the last 10, 22 points from the last 30 available. We're in fantastic form this season. We're off 1 game since Dorking in September. 1 game. It's so impressive. So if there's any other Chesterfield podcasts like us out there, they're probably saying the same things about us. Like, they are probably saying, look, we have to keep an eye on Macca, Ruben, Scott, Palmer. Cara Mitchell. Like they'll be nervous about all of those players. So, and Charlie says Chestefield haven't kept a clean sheet for 7 games. Yeah, I don't know who they've played in their last few games. Scunthorpe twice, Dorking, Halifax is that, and Solihull. So it's doable. It's doable. I'm going to let you make a decision now, George. Should we mix it up a bit?
Pressure's on.
Should we go for our team for the Chestefield game now?
Yeah.
Or should we talk about Solihull? What should we do? Big decision for you.
We'll go for our team against Chestefield.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Right.
Sense. Mine might be a bit controversial. Let us know your teams.
You know what, Tom?
You
know what, Tom? You go first.
Can I name you my whole team?
Name the whole team, mate. And I'll tell you if you're right or wrong.
Sam Slocum in goal.
Yeah.
Adam Chickson in the left wing back position. Kyle Cameron on the left hand side of defence. Aidan Baldwin in the centre. Richard Brindley on the right hand side. Aaron Neman, right wing back. Midfield 3 of Badger Army, Jim O'Brien, Matty Palmer. Ruben in front, and I hate to say this, just Macca in front. Scott to the bench. Not because he's not played well. My rationale for that is two people have said it in the chat, the game's won in midfield. When they've got the players they have and the ability.
I love that saying.
It is.
Biggest cliche in football, isn't it?
But it is.
This midfield.
Game's won in midfield. We lost the game last year in midfield at Chesterfield. We did. We got overrun second half. And if they've got the likes of Dobra, who is an unbelievable player, Jim, Badge, we might not be the prettiest football we play, but it needs to be effective. So that's my team. I'm dropping Kedwin, unfortunately.
I like that. I like your thinking there, Tom. I think
would
I'm
you
going to show a bit of solidarity with you there. The only thing that I'm going to say, right, is Rawlinson being back in. I wouldn't mind seeing him. I think, for the big games like this, he loves the occasion and he plays well. And let's not forget, before he got injured, Rawlinson was playing class.
And I'm thinking, are you thinking what I'm thinking? Maybe him for Brindley.
Maybe, yeah.
When I think of Rawlinson, I think if there's a picture someone took, like a professional photographer, I can't remember when it was on the playoff games, and he's like going mad, fist pumping. I just think of that when I think of Rawler, like the passion.
Yeah.
So I don't think Brindley's been his usual self. I don't think so.
Yeah,
although he offers a lot of pacing behind, doesn't he? If they get in, he can get back. Are you going with the same team as me then?
I'm going to say so. Yeah.
I think a lot of people want Badge to play, do you?
I think Badge, he has to play because he's the player we need in there. He's the player we need in there.
James says, no Luke Williams will throw a curveball like Cameron at left wing back and Rawlinson or Chicks at left centre back just to catch Chesterfield out. Defensively, Cameron at left wing back didn't film with a lot of excitement at that game, but putting the balls into the box was really, really good. And you're going to get someone that's not the Chickson, doesn't it? That's going to run for 90 minutes up and down that left-hand side. Chris, whoever wins the midfield battle wins the game.
Here we go.
There you go.
Here we go.
Mandeville and Dobra need to be kept quiet. Dobra, for me, has to be kept quiet. The only interesting thing for me, I know I don't think they played on Saturday, but Dobra played the whole game against West Brom when they lost 4-0. They could have bought him off at 2-0, knowing the game was pretty much done. So, yeah, massive. And don't forget, George. Don't you forget. This game's won in midfield.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at Solihull. We're very Chesterfield heavy, but it's a huge game. They are in absolute freefall. Out of the last 30 points available, how many do you think they've got?
7.
5. With the team they've got, in 10 games, they've scored 5 goals and conceded 20. So they're conceding 2 a game.
Ouch. Now,
they've had some tricky games recently. They've had Southend, Wrexham twice. They've also lost at home to Aldershot. They've had Chestefield. They've lost to Dagenham, Halifax. They've had a tricky run. But Neil Ollie's going to get them up for Tuesday night. I'm surprised. I'm genuinely surprised he's still there. I don't know if they've got a sacking mentality. I don't think they do. But I'm surprised he's still there.
Yeah. It is surprising. They did really well last season. They spent quite a bit as well, didn't they? Because they beat us to Dallas, didn't they?
Yeah.
He was, rumored to be signing for us, but then he wanted guaranteed playing time and all that stuff. But it's strange because the team hasn't actually changed that much. So for them to not be performing, maybe they just need to add a couple of more players. I'm not sure. It's strange though. Like you just said, that's shocking form. 5 points from a possible 30.
It is terrible, isn't it?
It's awful, yeah.
It's really, really poor. 15 from a possible 45 as well. So it's really, really not good. I think if we beat Chesterfield, which I'd love, I'm confident we beat Solihull. Same with if we draw. I think, you take 4 points from Chesterfield away and Solihull away. Okay, if we lose to Chesterfield, then becomes a lot of pressure on the Solihull game. So it's big, but I think I can't really call it because I think it all depends on Saturday. Personally, let's have a quick look who Solihull have on Saturday. Scunthorpe. So at home, you're going to expect Solihull are going to come into the game with 3 points. I don't think Scunthorpe are going to be buoyed by the prospective new owner that's coming in. I don't think that's going to fill anyone with hope, personally. But he looks like the only person that's going to save that club. For how long, I don't know. But yeah, how do you feel about Solihull?
Yeah, I sort of agree with what you're saying. I think Ardley will get them and bang up for it, won't they? As bad a form as they are in. But then I do think Williams will. He'll just be too much, I think, for Solihull. Not as a lone man, but I just think the squad. I think the way that we've been playing, it's hard for teams to deal with, isn't it? And I just think we're going to be too much for Solihull on Tuesday night.
Yeah, I mean, at our place, we only won 1-0, but it was routine, wasn't it? Adam Chickson scored, but it could have been more. They didn't really offer too much. They punch above their weight, Solihull. They're a good team, and they've put it into our heads that they are a very good team. They should be higher up the league than they are, but I would like us to go there and get a win. Last year, again, I think it finished 3-3. I think we got it up to 3-2, and then I think they scored from well outside the box with about 10 minutes to go, possibly. Have a quick look.
Mad game that was, wasn't it, for the neutral?
No, another cliche brought in there, look, from the neutral.
Love cliches on the Pavis perspective.
We do. Ryan
got any more?
86th minute. No.
One more. Go on. Someone bang a cliche in the chat. I'll read it out.
Game of two halves.
Someone do it. Here we go.
Game of two halves. Yeah, I think we've got to be in it to win it against Solihull, if I'm honest with you, George. Yeah, I can't physically look ahead to Solihull though, because Saturday is so big. I'm nervous already for it. 20 past 5 kickoff under the lights makes it even more of a feisty game. Sold out away, and is it 2,000 of us there?
Take each game as it comes.
Semi sold out home stands.
Very cliche that is.
Don't think they ever really sell out that stadium. It's quite a bit big for them, but massive, and I can't look past it. So, would you be happy with 4 points?
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Well done, Chris. Yeah, Chris says fans of the 12th man, and we're, like William says, we take each game as it comes. So I wonder how long we could just keep saying cliches for. I'd love it if anyone keeps putting them in. We'll just keep reading your cliches out. We will. But would you be happy with 4 points?
Probably not, to be fair, if I'm going to be honest. As crazy as that might sound against the teams that we have, sorry. We can't let up, and I think we're just giving chance to Wrexham, aren't we? If we
Yeah. And as Dale says here, wisely says the journey is always better than the destination. You can't forget that.
exactly.
And it is, like Paul says, not over till it's over.
Exactly.
John says you're being too negative. Remember, Notts have the best away points to the league. 100% agree with that. But I feel like it's inbuilt into being a Notts fan. I feel like there's no getting away from it.
It's who wants it more.
It is who wants it more. It's all or nothing and leave it all on the pitch. So, yeah.
This podcast's gone to mush, mate.
What more do we say? I'm just loving these. And like Chris says, if we do get the point against Chesterfield, at the end of the day, you have to respect the point.
You have to respect the point.
Yeah. I just hope we play to the whistle, like Andrew says. Right, I'm going to stop. But yeah, finally, like, as we already said, Paul said, we need to be the 12th man.
Yeah, exactly.
How many cliches in a podcast? It must be like 25. So, go for your team. How I know there could be injuries, there could be players really fatigued after Chesterfield game. There would be changes for me against Solihull, regardless of what happens against Chesterfield. We go back to 2 up top. Scott comes in for me. Drop the midfielder out. I think we'll see Rollo in one of the games. So I think that's how we change it up for me. I'd like to see Toby back in. Don't know how close he is to being fit. I like Ed Francis when he's dropped into the team, so I think he could be useful against Solihull.
Yeah.
But as Ezio says here, if we get our points, we'll be there or thereabouts at the end of the season. So, there we go.
There or thereabouts. Have you seen that video?
No.
Have you not? After we've done this video, you go on YouTube and put in there or thereabouts, yeah? There's like a 5-minute video, and it's just pundits saying there or thereabouts, and every pundit ever says it. And even in a Luke Williams presser the other day, he said there or thereabouts. It's like the most used phrase in football.
I'm going to search it.
I'll calm down now. Sorry about that. Got a bit excited.
I've seen the Dion Dublin video where he just keeps saying up the stairs to the left by the bedroom or something.
Yeah.
On his showing around the house.
Stairs leading to the bedroom.
Yeah, there you go. Up the stairs leading to the bedroom.
What's the other guy called who's on? I don't matter. It's another story for another day. We're going off topic.
Yeah. Win your home games, draw your away is another one. We're seeming to draw our home games, win our away, aren't we? So we're doing the opposite. Yeah. Score predictions. Nervous. Despite all of the usual Notts County fan pessimism and the nerves that are coming ahead of this huge week of games, massive. If we're sat here next Thursday with 6 points, oh my word, we could equally sat here with 0 points. I think you messaged me earlier saying, hope we don't get 5 points, didn't you, George? So I don't think that's going to happen. But what's your score prediction? We'll go first. Don't say frozen pitch, Charlie. Can't be. They've got frost covers. Chesterfield score prediction first.
Look, you got to respect the point. But it's going to be 2-1 Notts. It's going to be
a 90th-minute goal.
It's going to be a 90th-minute goal, but we'll already be winning 2-0 by then, so it won't matter.
Oh, okay. Nervy, though. Nervy end.
Nervy ending.
Who's scoring?
Good question. I'm going to go Bajrami and Langstaff. Get back to it.
We'll start off with David, who says we lose 2-0.
Come on, Dave. Less of that.
1-1. 3-1. Langstaff, Chickson, and Badge. 2-2 Saturday. Another 2-2. 2-1 Notts, last-minute winner, and then 3-0 Notts against Solihull. We've got a 3-2 Notts right there from James. We've got a 2-0 Macron Badrami. We've got 2-1 Chesterfield. We've got a 2-2 there. I'm going to go for 2-1 Notts as well, George. And I'm going to say Ruben double because I've said it's going to be his game. Callum here, sensible. Cairo masterclass incoming, hat-tricks for him and my man Chicks. Games won in midfield, so Cairo is going to be a phenomenal attacking midfielder. 4-6. Solihull game, Chicks and hat-trick, Macca brace 0-5. I think what Callum's saying here is we're going to do what Newcastle did with Joe Linton and put
I was literally just about to say that.
Cairo in the middle. You never
You
know,
read
though.
my
That could
mind.
work. That could work. And then Solihull, George, what are you saying about Solihull?
2-0 knots.
I think
a double.
I think we'll either be buoyed off a good result against Chesterfield and win 3-0, or we'll be trying to put it right after Chesterfield and we'll win 3-0.
Yeah.
Ruben double again. And Maka for me. I think that's how it's going to go down. 2-1 and 2-0. Maka and Ruben, Maka and Baju Pies. What else have we got? We've got 2-1 knots. Erling, Langstaff, and Palmer. I'd love Palmer to get a goal. We've got a 2-1 Solihull. Hopefully not. We've got a 2-0 knots. We've got a 3-1 against Solihull. And like Callum said, you got to die to get 3 points. You have to die to get those 3 points.
You just got to remember as well, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. You take the point. Okay.
Poll.
Take the positives. Go to the poll then. To finish off.
Are you confident ahead of trips to Chestefield and Solihull? 26% say not really. 27% say undecided. 47% say yes.
Where are you?
I'm yes, mate. I've just predicted 2 wins. I'm
confident.
Yes. I'm confident, right? But I'm not as confident as I was for Wrexham.
No, you were very confident. You said Wrexham will beat Wrexham.
Yeah,
you did.
Easy.
I'm not confident. It's funny, isn't it? We're away from home, which makes you less confident, but our away form's better, which
really
sort of balances it out. I'm in the yes. Not firmly in the yes, because you can't be. Well, I can't be supporting Notts. It just never is easy, is it? So huge. We'll be at Chesterfield. We'll have a vlog out for Chesterfield. Likewise, with the Solihull game, we'll have a vlog out for Solihull. Hopefully see a few people down there. If you are going, a lot of us traveling, I know, to the Chestefield game. Solihull obviously on the Tuesday night, but still hopefully we take quite a few people to that game. Enjoy it if you go in. Stay safe. Let's hope we can be back here with at least a minimum of 4 points, but 6 points next Thursday. Thank you as always for joining us. Some great discussion. Loads of comments. I'd say, George, maybe the most interaction we've had this season on a video. So some brilliant comments.
It's the cliches. Everyone started loving the cliches.
Yeah, it's the cliches. The cliches doubled it, didn't they? But yeah, as I've already said, massively appreciate it. Safe travels if you go in. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel.